I'm ready. I kind of hit record preemptively, so.
You're good. That's perfect.
Mm.
Editor, get rid of it. Get rid of all that's happened before right now. Hi. Hello. Welcome
Hello,
to first episode of the Ahegals podcast.
Ahegals podcast.
That's I don't know why that's weird to say it now, but there it is. Uh,
Yep.
yeah. So I this voice is it belongs to me, Kathleen.
Hello, me.
Hello, me. What's up, me? And then of course there's my lovely co-host, Renee over here, and
Hello.
we're just two fucking dweebs,
Mm-hmm.
weebs, perhaps one might say,
Dwee weebs.
dwee weebs, um, who enjoy anime and are probably gonna shit on it slash critique it. I'm not
Yeah.
no promises on shitting on it, aside from
Yeah. No promises on critiquing it either.
if we're honest.
We're just gonna talk about whatever we watched, and whatever we say is what's gonna be on the podcast. You're welcome.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Enjoy
Bye.
enjoy this like roughly hour long just us fucking freaking out about something.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be entertaining at
Yeah.
least.
I hope so. I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Um,
Buttholes clenched, fingers crossed.
we're ready, baby. Why don't you start off? How long have you been watching anime? Ooh, you know what? I feel like a good gauge
Mm.
of like our preferences and where our discussion might go is like trying to make an attempt at listing what our favorite anime is and what our least favorite anime is.
Oh, see. Mm. Okay.
Okay, after you.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Okay. Um, it's really, really hard to know. I guess so. This very first episode, a little bit, we're gonna talk about Ouran, and for that one, like, Ouran is a classic for me. I'd say that's one of the oldies that I would rewatch, and like after rewatching it again this time, I'm just like, yes, I still enjoy it a lot. It's very nice and lighthearted. Um, but for like a more recent one, I don't I kind of want to say No Game, No Life, even though it only got one season.
Mm.
And that one is like that's the most otaku answer that I could ever give. Um, because of like the show is literally the main characters are literally otakus that get transported into another world.
Mm.
And maybe in the future we'll talk about that show.
Yeah, maybe. I've never seen that one.
Um, it's very entertaining. I just like it a lot.
Hell yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. A least favorite, not gonna lie, Evangelion. I know that's a big title
Oh.
to say that I don't
Ooh.
like.
Ooh.
But it is not a classic for me. I didn't watch it
Ooh.
till I was in college. So, the older anime style and just the content itself. I guess I'm not really a mecha person, so that's
Mm.
probably why. And Shinji's a fucking dumbass.
All of what you've just said about Ava is valid as fuck. So,
Yeah, sorry, Ava lovers. Come at me. Don't come at me, please. I have a fragile heart.
did I tell you about, and I'll censor this out later, but like, did I tell you that, like he just got his first tattoo and
Oh.
it's an Ava tattoo?
Oh no. I'm sorry.
No, fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Oh god.
Um,
Hey,
no,
yeah, what about you?
that's so fucking fair though. Like, and I'm so glad you said it too, because like, fuck it. It's just an opinion, right? that doesn't
Yeah,
invalidate
I'm not
someone
hurting
else's
anybody.
experience with that
Yeah, no.
series.
If it changed your life, if it makes you happy and you fucking love the shit out of it and that's your go-to thing to, like, feel good and watch and enjoy, like, yes, please do make yourself happy. It just doesn't make me happy.
I want to meet the fucking person who watches Ava to feel good. If I'm honest, I want to know this person. Do they need a friend? Because I will be there for you. Uh,
Yeah.
I was trying to think about this recently. I don't know. I cannot put a like definitive span of time of like how long I've been watching anime.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, and to like get this out in the open from the get-go, uh I was a weeb, am a weeb. I feel like I can't show up to like Weeaboos Anonymous and be like, "Hi, I'm a weeb and I don't watch anime anymore, therefore my weeb card has been taken away from me." But like as much as I try to do that, um
Yeah.
I watched anime religiously as a youth and in
Youth.
as a youth and in my depressing adult life have pretty much completely steered away from it. So
Yeah.
to pitch an anime reviewing podcast to do with you, I feel like is me just saying fuck you to me. So
Fuck you, me.
fuck you, me. The audacity you have.
Wow.
Um
That's
so
great, though.
yeah, so I just want to preface that and say that I am a weeaboo once removed.
Weird
And
once removed.
and so my choices, my experience with anime is at this point probably very dated
Mhm.
because anime
Okay.
comes out so frequently that like
Yeah.
I barely
Yeah.
know what is that one, Demon Slayer? I barely know what that is, right?
Ah,
Like I could
yeah.
recognize it out in the wild, but I know nothing else
Yeah.
about it.
That's fair.
Like I had for Halloween, we had a is it Nezuko?
Mhm.
That one. She got
The
like
sister.
she got like the long hair and like the jacket that has like a gradient from like black to pink or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah. I'm so fucking good. High five me.
yeah.
Yes. We
Yeah, that's her.
someone dressed up as Nezuko and came to our house for trick or
Oh.
treating and I was like,
Oh,
I
that's so
I
cute.
know you. That's dope. I'm into that. But yeah, I my choices are dated, and I don't care if people roast me about it. That's fine. I don't give a shit. But I'd have to say my favorite series of all time. I have a lot, and this probably says a lot about me. But Nana, um,
Yeah.
is my favorite, and it's just because I hate feeling. I mean, I love feeling sad. I hate feeling sad. I hate feeling happy. I love I love feeling sad. Um, but no, I don't know. Nana, I think the time like Nana is a fantastic show and I always recommend it to people and then I always
Yeah.
preface with it with it's really good and it's fucking sad. I'm sorry. um but yeah, that's one of my favorites. I think it's just really deep. It has a lot of layers to it that I really admire and that's
Mhm.
why it's my favorite. And then oh god, my least favorite anime. I know I have one that I hate with all of my might, but I can't think of it at the moment. Maybe Code Geass.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Code Geass. Um,
Why?
oh, alternatively, so okay, I have two answers for like my most hated,
Yeah.
my most disliked, which are Code Geass and Puella Magi Madoka Maguka
Thought you loved I thought you loved Madoka.
Maduka Maguka.
Madoka Madoka. Madurpa Magikarp.
Mad- yes, absolutely. I know. I strongly dislike Madoka Magica, and
What?
I feel like I need to rewatch it.
You made me watch it.
Yeah,
You made me watch
because I thought it was something. I was like, I think Renee would enjoy this,
it.
but I personally do not like that show. I I I, I hate them for similar reasons. The big reasons I hate them, is because they were pe- uh, people who were close to me at the time of those being really popular were like, "You need to watch this right now. Watch it right now." And I was like, "Fuck
Watch
you.
it
I guess I'll
right now.
watch it just so you shut up."
Uh,
And then I watched it because I was angry and spiteful, and I was like, "Just shut up."
I
Um,
see. Okay.
and I mean, arguably, Gios Gios is very like it's I think it's technically a mecha anime.
What?
I think technically, isn't it?
Is it?
Am I high?
I think you are.
No, because what's his name? Doesn't he pilot some kind of robot thing?
I have no I've
Anyway,
never seen it, so I wouldn't know, but,
anyway,
like, I only know some memes, like, "I'm at soup."
I'm at the soup store. That those the memes are the best
I'm
thing to
buying
come out of.
clothes.
I'm buying clothes.
I can't find them.
Um, I Gios is weird because it's like, and this was my impression way back when. I don't know if this is actually true or not, and this was also the opinion of a child, so no one roast me for no good reason. But like, it just seemed like it was trying too hard to be smart, and it actually wasn't. It's one of those kinds of shows, or at the very least, like maybe it was smart, and I was too dumb to understand how smart it actually was. But
Oop.
who knows? I have no idea. I would have to rewatch it to know.
Yeah.
And I don't like it, so the chances of me watching it are pretty low.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I would like to because I would like to see if I'm wrong or not. Same with
Yeah.
Maduka Maguka. And
Maduka Maguka.
I can never not say Maduka Maguka because why wouldn't I? But yeah, in the same breath, like that one's just like, oh yeah, let's watch these little girls suffer. That's what it felt like, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it felt like. I was
hmm
like, "Why am I watching this? This is awful.
I am
This is
20 episodes in.
awful."
Why am I still watching this? They are all sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, those are my two.
Nice. Good answers.
Thank you. Yours were great answers too. Love your
Um,
answers.
uh, Thank you.
Oh god. Oh, thank you.
So, Ahegals,
I,
the title.
relatively self-explanatory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so while we were discussing this, audience, while Kathleen and I were discussing the premise of us doing this podcast, um, trying to come up with ideas for the name, and Kathleen was coming up with some really solid stuff, and this being like a midnight conversation, one of those just times of the night where brain be loopy, no brain power, just random thoughts come. I was like, oh, and
Give it.
before I say it, I guess, um, Kathleen had very nicely looked up just, researching what the anime podcast industry is like, and they're all dudes.
They are all
Where are the
dudes.
ladies?
Uh-huh.
It's all dudes.
And granted, I have not done my full conducive research, but pretty much all dudes.
Yeah, pretty much all dudes. We didn't really find you didn't I mean, I didn't see any results for females.
For the full females.
For females doing an anime pod review podcast. Um, and so I was thinking about the fact that we would be lady sounding people.
Correct.
and how could we, I guess, market ourselves off of the fact that we would be more unique in the sense that we are ladylike ish people doing this sort of thing, and the first thing that came into my sleep deprived brain um was the word ahegao. And Kathleen was just like, "What if I had gals?"
Dude, dude, so cringy, but also so good.
Oh my
Round of
gosh.
applause for us. I'm too proud of this title. Honest to God, I.
It made me laugh so hard. I'm still laughing at it. Like, oh god. Like, I cannot believe we both agreed to this name. Like, I
I
said it as a joke, but you were like, "Yes. Yes, let's."
number one rule of improv, yes and.
Yes, and.
Dude.
It's just like, "Alright. Perfect."
So this is
Oh.
this is this is the curse we have put upon ourselves.
Uh-huh,
It,
and the rest of the internet.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. So welcome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like too, it sets us up. it, it sets our content up to be whatever the hell we want it to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, at least for my brain, so that I'm not like
Same.
overly professional about this. Because
Yeah, no.
in
This
the
is a
end, we're
fun project.
exactly, in the end, we're just here to have fun.
We're just here for the goofs and the gaffs,
The
the
guffaws.
tee-hees, the
Hmm.
tee-hees and the hoo-hoos.
And the witchy cackles.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So this is us. This is who we are. Welcome to Ahegals.
Woo!
Woo!
Woo! I feel like it's kind of weird now. I mean, it makes sense, but I feel like it for
Only kind of weird.
well, to the fact that we have such a lewd name, and then the first
Mhm.
show that we're talking about is Ouran High School Hosts
Eh.
Club.
Listen, listen. It's a host club though. Like that has yeah,
Valid. It's so right.
uh,
And it like,
yeah.
I mean, overtly up Fujoshi themes in it too.
Yeah.
But then
Very
also
Fujoshi.
very Fujoshi. And then
Reverse harem. Thank you.
thanks, love it.
Love it.
Um, yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about Oron. What are
Yeah,
your
let's talk about Ouran.
dude, it's your favorite, so why don't you start? Like how do you
All right. Hell
yeah,
yeah.
get into
Um,
it?
I don't know. For me, because so it's one of the show. It was like I would say it's one of the first anime for me that I really got into and watched that I remember. The key word is that I remember it.
Yeah.
Because I'm also a very forgetful person, but this one
Mhm.
had like a big enough impact on me that I was just like, "Oh, I love this show." Just how the very lighthearted like just how lighthearted it is, how not serious it is at all. Like I don't take this show seriously. I know it's dumb entertainment. And like immature romance stuff is just like, ah yes, at the time when I was a younger me, it was just like, oh yeah, like oh oh boys, whatever. Oh.
Oh, cute fake boys, come
Oh,
fondle me.
oh.
Ah.
You big
Ooh.
boys and one girl. Ooh, that's a dream.
Mm.
Yeah, that kind of like immature mindset in regards to the romance of the show, which there really isn't that much of. um,
Yeah, it's really not overt in any way.
yeah, at least among the main characters.
Hmm.
It's I don't know. I just love how light and goofy it is. Very light, very goofy. And that's really it for me, like why I enjoy it so much. I'm easy to please, pretty like I'll laugh at anything. So yeah. Give me something stupid, I'll laugh at it. Like, yeah, perfect. Oron, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Rip it a new one, please. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me
No,
why
you're
I'm wrong.
not wrong. Because like, so leading up to us recording this, I've just been talking to Renee about like, oh God, I feel like I'm gonna be really mean and like and like unnecessarily critical of this show, right? And we are talking specifically about the anime, and I may bring up the manga at certain points, but we're talking about the show, and like
Mm.
I think I've I've had some a little bit of time to process my initial rage
Oh.
coming back to watch this show. Because in the same way, um, I have a very deep fondness for Ouran. I would go so far as to say that Ouran was like the first shoujo anime that I ever watched.
Mm.
Um, and I I think for a lot of reasons, that is a fantastic thing because it's it's a really overall it's a fantastic like entry level series. Um,
Yeah.
and especially for the shoujo genre, which can be can induce significant eye rolling.
Yes, yes.
Yes. I I guess I'll say the things that I don't like about it first. And granted, like, um, I've realized now that a lot of my issues with it are like of a personal nature, right? Like they're very
Mm.
nitpicky. It was just me being a grumpy asshole when I was watching this, right? And they might be valid critiques. I don't know. This is just how I feel. I'm going to express that. So like
Yeah.
I think my one of the things that really bothered me, and I realize now that just how stupid this is, but like I I really disliked the disparity, the like the class disparity. Like
Oh.
I think it's great that like Haruhi is the heroine and she has so
Mm.
much going for her, and then her like quote unquote faults are the fact that she's just poor, or not even poor, that
Yeah.
she's a
A
regular
commoner.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like and that's kind of the point of view that we get a lot throughout the series, right? It's like us normal
Mm.
people versus commoners, when in fact the rich people are typically the ones out of the loop.
Yeah. No,
Or
they
who
definitely definitely are.
yeah, or
Mm.
are like or more ostracizing more of the outliers.
Mm.
And that's yeah, that's just me being just being me being a petty bitch. I mean, like I'm poor too, huh? You gonna call me a commoner too, huh? You
Don't
fake
fucking call
cartoon
me out
boy.
like that.
Yeah, the class disparity really like fucked my shit up. I think in the same way, like we're getting the point of view. I'm trying not to spoil too much, but we're and it's this series is like what 13
It's old.
2006. It's
If
fucking
somebody
old.
has not watched it and they're listening to this, like, thanks for listening,
Yeah,
but
appreciate
also
it. But also go watch it, I guess.
spoilers. Yeah,
Spoilers.
go
Yeah.
watch it, also spoilers,
Yeah,
so
vague spoilers. But I also the major point of view that we get from this series is of these rich young men, right? Rich
mhm,
affluent young men, and like maybe it speaks more to like Japanese society, which I'm going to be very careful about how I address that because I am not
mm,
a Japanese person. I am not in any way associated with like the cultural differences. Like I don't know enough about the cultural differences between like my experience as an American and the experiences of a Japanese person.
that's that's fair.
But like I was just like, whoa, these boys, it's just too much. It's too much. And the way that the Lobelia girls are villainized, I kind of have an inkling toward. I fucking hate the Lobelia girls. Don't get me wrong. I despise them because they're just as gross as the boys, right?
Yeah,
They're like, "Ooh, look at this beautiful maiden. How dare you make her dress as a boy?" And like the whole time Haruhi's like, I choose to dress like this.
this was my
This was my
choice.
choice. It was not against my will." And then like
Yeah,
but then the boys like super villainize them and make fun of them, right, for like being
yeah.
I would argue queer positive like group because they're like their name they're like what was it their troop name is like Zuka, which is a play off of Yuri or something like that. and it's like I think that's what it was, is like it's called the Zuka Club, and then
Mhm.
Zuka I think is written similarly to Yuri, like with similar characters or something. So it can be misinterpreted as like the Yuri Club. Which is why it's
That's
funny
funny.
that yeah, which is why it's funny that they're all like, "Oh, baby bird." And it's an all girls school, so they're just like, oh,
Yeah.
they're just lesing it up
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, no,
Um,
like, cause, and that's what I understood them to be, is that they were supposed to be, like, the lesbians of the
mhm,
show.
mhm.
If it's not, then excuse me for being wrong.
Well, no, I think that's exactly it, right? And like, obviously, it's a very childish way of seeing things. And again, these are
Yeah,
high school kids, so of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
absolutely, of course, that's like how these things are going to come off. But it's always funny too that the boys as a host club in high school, which can, by the way, how fucking ridiculous is that? That's terrible.
It's so
It's
bad.
so bad, and it speaks to the ridiculousness of like this class thing again. It's just like these kids are so rich that they don't have any problems. Like seriously, that's
Yeah.
all they do is like think about host stuff. Oh, weird.
And maybe that's one of the things that I liked about it. Like, I know that's a reason why you dislike the show, but for me, I saw it more as like a, oh, this is such an absurd premise, and like this isn't normal. That like, and this is like an anime. It's just a fantasy, so it's fun to have these weird fantasies, pretending like, oh, maybe I can understand what it's like to be a rich person and see that and watch them do weird things with the
That
time that they have.
weird things that I will never experience for myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Um, yeah,
I would never.
I could never.
I could never.
um, and that's I mean that's exactly the point, right? Is where I am frustrated with the ridiculousness of these things, that is one of the strongest points of this series, is the way
Uh,
that it can make fun of itself. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal
Yes.
how
Yes.
Oron can make fun of itself. And
It's
like
really good at doing that. I love that.
mm, it makes fun of, you know, um those differences. It calls them out certainly, but then it makes it so fantastical and like high key, low key, just weirdly obscene. And then it's like, oh well, it's funny because that can't be real in
Yeah.
any realm. I mean, it might be, but like that can't be real, and that's hilarious, right? Like everyone can laugh at that. So
Mhm.
again, why I prefaced with I was just being an asshole, and then by the end of it, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm wrong. This was on purpose. I am
Oh,
completely wrong. Um,
no.
but I yeah, a lot of things that I have issue with are just like points that I believe are dated. And then
Yeah.
argue like the queer like the queering back and forth like ooh queerness weird like
Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask about, is like, how well do you think the show has aged? Especially with like the representation of Haruhi's father being trans, and the lesbian academy. um I
I
was curious on how well it's aged in that sense. Like, is this a show that people can watch nowadays, and is it something that they will be overly offended by with our current day and age cancel culture?
I think that's what led me to be so frustrated with this at the beginning is because I tend to have a lens of like hopping on it kind of cancel culture and then pulling back and being like okay why am I reacting this way
Mm,
right because if I'm conditioned to be like oh this is offensive get rid of it right but I'm like
yeah,
that's not always going to be the case right like
right.
I think especially with how dated this show is how old this show is I can't really be that mad right it's an
Yeah.
old show. 2006 was when it originally released, and then 2008 when it was released in the Americas, which I do have a gripe about that, but that's for
Mhm,
in a minute. Um,
mhm.
I think. Oron overall has an interesting balance of, and this is with anything, but especially with the theme of queerness. I think it has a very strange balance that I personally don't know. I can't say is good or bad because
Mm.
again, right, they villainize the Lobelia girls, and that's that I would chalk that up. They make fun of the like the how like openly like flirtatious and touchy the girls are with each other. Um
Yeah.
uh,
But I never felt like they made fun of them for that specifically. I thought
no,
it was more
exactly.
like we're just rivals and like we don't want you taking our friend away.
That's exactly my point is it's boyish. It's young boyish behavior.
Mhm.
They over villainize the girls because they're like, Haruhi is our friend. You can't just take her away from us. That like
Yeah.
that is it. And so for me to be upset about
Yeah.
how the Lobelia I fucking hate the Lobelia girls. I don't like the Lobelia girls. But
I don't like them either.
I
I don't think
fucking
they're not meant
they're
to
not
be
meant to be
likable.
likable. Exactly. And I don't like them. I'll still fight for them, but I don't like them. I
Oh, yeah.
don't like that, especially when they kidnap Haruhi. Like, what the fuck? How can
Yeah.
you? No justification for that.
And
This is
she's just
gross.
like, I just wanna go to the grocery store. I need to
Hmm.
study. What is happening?"
Oh God, I guess I'll do it. You guys are cool. I don't, it doesn't matter that she kidnapped me. I'm oblivious. Whatever.
Yeah. And then, like, emotionally manipulate her into doing stuff by, like, tugging on her mom heartstrings.
Dude, right? Yeah.
Mm.
No, Haruhi. Yeah.
Very sweet.
So there is an interesting balance, I think. I keep using Lobelia as an example, but like even within the host club, right? They like constantly kind of push this like homoeroticism to attract the girls,
Yeah.
and then but then they'll like tease each other about being queer, which again, it's a young boy thing, and like they're
Mhm.
not overtly hurting anybody by being like, "Oh, that's gross."
Yeah, no, they're not outright being like, "That's not okay."
Mhm.
Because, like, there's even, Casanova,
Oh,
Bossa Nova,
Bossa Nova,
um,
he's so cute.
like, gangster student,
The Yakuza kid.
uh yeah,
Kitten.
the Yakuza kid, he ends up finding out Haruhi's secret,
Uh,
um, and, like, it becomes very obvious to everybody around them that he's kinda into her, and, like, there's, like, a specific scene that I'm thinking of where he, like, goes to the host club and he requests to see Haruhi, and all of the girls stop what they're doing and they're like,
yeah.
"Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
he
do it,
doesn't.
confess your love," and they're all just like,
Ah,
ogling him
so
and, like,
moe, so Fujoshi.
"Yes, so moe," and they love it, and, like, they're encouraging it, and then they like him more because of it.
Right, because they think he's a queer man scorned. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and even on
Mm.
Casanoda's part, like he doesn't care that people will perceive him as being gay because he just
Yeah.
has feelings for Haruhi.
Yeah, and
And
he was
oh,
also
it's
just
so
like, "I'm not gonna
good.
say anything because I don't wanna spill the secret,
He's like,
so I'll
I
just let
really
this
admire
be."
you. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the stronger points, like in the positive, right? It's like, oh my God, so cute. Or even
Very cute.
Ranka, Haruhi's father's friend,
Mhm.
when like they have the summer vacation episodes,
Yeah.
they treat her like they would any other woman, right? They're like, "Oh, ma'am,
Yeah.
oh this, oh we'd love to help you, work for you, whatever." Um
Yeah.
I
Like, they
think
only explain once that, like, that lady is friends with the dad through, like, one of their cross-dressing jobs, and, like,
mhm.
that's the only time. But yeah, they do a really good job of referring to her as a she.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I love that Ranka is introduced. I love that Ranka's character is in what is it? An Okama is what they're referred to as, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
gay men who dress as women and work at bars, right? Like there's a very specific uh gay Japanese like cultural thing, right? Something that doesn't translate outside of Japan.
yeah.
And that's going to be an actual gripe that I have with this, and it's not even the show's fault. in this regard because they quite obviously, right? You know, the twins will talk to Ranka and like they're like, "Oh, you're an Okama, that's cool." Like blah blah blah. They like go to introduce themselves and then they shit on Tamaki and whatever. Um I I didn't want to get into the subs versus dubs debate.
But okay, it's I think it's an important aspect that we don't have to discuss it all the time, but I think I want to hear what you have to say.
I
Ow.
I hate I hate the English dub of this show.
I am also not a fan
I
at all. Mm-mm.
I I'm sure the people who worked on it worked really hard, and I would
Yeah,
never deny the hard work that they did. I also cannot be upset with the fact that they picked up this show and brought it overseas to make it
yeah,
more
yeah.
accessible to people outside of Japan
Mhm.
because it is a fantastic series and like I can't stress enough how wonderful it is and how great of a an entry point it is into this subculture, right? The
Mhm.
anime, the manga, what have you. Um,
Yeah.
but they they fucked that dub. They fucked it.
Yeah.
They fucked the dub. Okay,
Uh,
I
and like no offense to Vic Mignogna, but I could not watch Oron and not hear Edward Elric every time Tamaki opened his fucking mouth. Like I could
that's
not
fair.
not picture Full Metal Alchemist.
That's totally fair. Yeah, because Vic definitely has like a one voice kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't.
he's a one voice type of dude. His voice is his only voice.
Mhm.
um,
And he's a very emotive actor, but yeah, I think he could have done better as Tamaki. Oh, well, so here's what's interesting, right? Um, I would have watched this show not long after it came out in Japan, and then a little bit later, it was announced that it was getting a dub, and I was really excited for that, especially because at the time I had just watched Full Metal Alchemist, and I was a big fan of Vic's. And knowing
mhm.
that Vic was going to be a part of it, I was like, oh, cool, that's awesome. Um, and then I did not. The dub was weird for me, and like that was a point in my life where I was like, oh, maybe I just stick to one or the other when I watch a show, right? Like if I don't have anything to compare it to, I can't be mad at the English dub, right?
Yeah,
But because the Japanese cast is phenomenal, and
yeah, they're
I
really good.
I think too that like because anime is such a Japanese cultural like art medium that like the way that they voice act is very particular to anime and it's extremely difficult to replicate outside of Japan.
Mm.
That's something I would argue, something I'm not going to get more into at this point in time. But
Well, that's fair.
it's hard. It's hard to do dubs, and I would never deny that.
Yeah.
But I hate this dub.
Yeah.
I am
I
sorry,
uh
I've been
no, no, no.
dominating.
No, 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 it's okay. Cause you mentioned to me that, like, because you did switch back and forth between the dub and the sub,
Hmm.
while rewatching this. I was really tempted after hearing you talk about it. I was really tempted to at least watch one episode with the dub, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I wanna do that to myself." Like, and I couldn't because I already know that I dislike dubbed anime
Mm, mm-hmm.
because I've seen enough dubs or I've heard enough of them that I'm just like, it's just not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Absolutely.
uh,
It's not the same. It's hard.
it's not.
It's hard to switch between them if you like
Yeah,
and I did it out of what I thought was necessity, but
yeah.
I
And
gave me more to
sorry.
bitch about, so that's something.
Something for me that I do wanna note, like, this is just for me personally, so I like because I do know Japanese, some Japanese, I know enough, that, like, hearing and reading, like, the visual cues along with hearing the actual, like, Japanese lines, like, it has more of an impact since I understand the language,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um and that's just for me. So, like, there are more layers to the comedy, than you would be able to pick up by listening to the dub.
Absolutely. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. And I- uh, yeah, the translation I think is always my biggest qualm with I mean aside from like aside from being used to listening to one set of voices and then switching over to another, which I think is my biggest hang up with dubs versus subs.
Mm.
Um and like this is the translation. Translation is like really important to me. So as someone who doesn't understand Japanese and who will watch like read the subtitles, I know that even those subtitles will not give me enough context for what's actually happening. And even that
Yeah.
is frustrating for me, right?
Yeah,
Cuz
that's fair.
because I understand how rich the medium can be and I only get a fraction of it because I don't
Mm.
understand the language. And I mean, kudos to people who get it and like hear it and they're like, "Ooh, yeah, that's funny." And my dumbass has to go Google a fucking Reddit thread from 5 years ago and be like, "What? What does this mean? Why is this funny?
Oh,
Haha."
no.
Um, but yeah, translation super important to me. Um, hard work definitely, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
I like I like a um a good solid true to form translation.
Mm.
And my I have a lot of hangups with I keep saying my one big hangup, but I have a lot of hangups that I'm not going to get into. But the
Okay.
one thing that I have a big issue with from the English dub is the translation of Okama. They
How do they say it?
they call Ranka a
Oh, okay.
which, obviously
Yeah.
nowadays that's a slur. And I feel like even in 2008, that would not have been acceptable
Mm.
in America. So, like, for these professional human beings to take a script and translate it, and then of all of the things that they chose to translate from Japanese into English, because there are plenty of like moments. There are plenty of comedic moments in Oron, especially because there's a lot of like misheard like words, a lot of puns in Oron that like make the
Mhm.
comedy that you just can't translate that into English. So a lot of those things they don't translate, but for some reason they thought it would be appropriate to translate Okama, which is a profession, into so and
Mhm.
then use that as a joke.
Yeah.
So that's a personal qualm of mine. I don't like it. Uh
No, that's fair. I was thinking about that when I was watching it, and I was like, "I don't think this is correct."
mhm
This
mhm
is definitely not politically correct. I know that, and I was like, I'm pretty sure some people would be offended by this word."
I think even outside of political correctness, because I get it, we don't have an equal term for that, but like to misunderstand the context of what Ronka is, and in some way
Yeah.
kind of like deflate how great of a character Ronka is, you're just gonna call him that word. Like he's more than
Yeah.
that. Like I mean, he's
Yeah.
quite obviously like and it's not a huge point in this series, but like Haruhi does it, Ranka does it. Like what does it matter how they dress or how they appear? That they don't judge. That's just how they are. And then they gloss over it and that's it, right? Like Oran's
Yeah.
quite specifically, he doesn't try to delve into those kinds of topics, but they bring it up, right?
Mm.
And okay, cool, great, that's awesome. So don't be shitty about it. Like
Yeah, don't be shitty about
don't be
it.
shitty, but don't fucking poorly translate it, right? Like I don't know. Like I think you can make all the excuses for that you want. Like you don't have a direct word to translate Okama. That's fine. But just
Yeah.
just say Okama. Just use the original word.
That's true. You could say that, and then people can just look it up if they really need to know what that is.
Exactly.
But
Again,
yeah,
because
like, sometimes when you say something in a different language, but, like, you have the visual cue and the context, it's pretty easy to pick up what they mean by it,
hmm
even if it's not a word that you understand. Like, you can infer what it means. It's just like, "Oh, they're referring to the fact that he cross dresses.
That he dresses as a woman.
Yeah.
You could even use crossdresser. Why? I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there, you had so many options, but you chose to use that word that is hurtful to some people. And as a joke too. Like that's supposed to be a funny moment when you realize that Haruhi's dad dresses as a woman, dresses feminine.
Mm.
Like, oh,
Mhm.
haha, this is awkward, but also kind of funny, and also he's really hot. Like, haha.
Yeah.
Like it's
Handsome
the
daddy.
like it's funny, and then you I don't know. It just poorly translated. I think it was a bad move on the translations team's part.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was my big.
That's 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 fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
You know what?
But yeah,
One last small thing that I'm like, no, no good, no bueno.
tell me.
Why no nipples?
Nipples. I forgot. I forgot that like that's a hang up for you. For like anime and manga or whatever when they don't draw the nipples.
Why no nipples? Free the nipple.
Oh, free
Free
the
the
nip.
nipple. I don't
Oh,
understand the
that is
censorship of
too
nipple.
good. Yeah, like they'll draw buttholes. Like,
Yeah,
what's up with that?
you draw the little X for the butthole, but you won't give me a fucking nipple. Come on, give me. Areola is all I need, baby. I don't need the little nippy.
Ariel is all I need.
Come on, dude. Seriously.
Oh.
So, I mean that gets 1 point knocked off for me right away. If there's a shirtless scene and no nipples, we have a problem.
-5 points. It's not fresh enough. There's no nip.
No nip, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Is that okay? So, I
I
guess
I
I
talked a
don't.
lot.
No, that's totally fine. I'm mostly just trying to figure out like how much of the shows do we really want to talk about and explain and like go like into detail on and
We
discuss.
totally didn't even give a synopsis for what Ouran was.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
We're already so bad at this. My B gamers, my
Uh,
B.
that's okay. Here, I'll give it to you real quick.
Yeah,
So,
slap it on us.
it's a shoujo anime. And the main character is this young lady that just got into high school, and her name is Haruhi. I almost said Haruhi Suzumiya. That is the wrong show. Haruhi Fujioka. And she's an honors student at this rich kid academy, very, very rich children go here. And Haruhi got very lucky to be smart enough to get on the honor roll and um, get into school that way. And so they just want to study. They just want to be a good student and study. And they come across and like they're just looking for a place that's quiet and everywhere in the school is fucking loud, super rich kids like having too much free time and not studying. What's that about? Um, they're just looking for a place to study and they come across the host club and they accidentally break something that's very expensive. And so they have to repay that debt. And since they're a commoner, they have to work that debt off. And that is how Haruhi becomes part of Oran's high school host club. And um yeah, the first episode starts out with all the dudes, almost all the dudes. One dude knows from the get-go, Kyoya. But everybody else does not realize that Haruhi is a girl. They all think that Haruhi's a boy. Just because of how short her hair is and the way that she's dressed. Um, but yeah, so they mistake her for a boy, and then they find out she's a girl, but everybody mistakes her for a boy, and then they have to keep it a secret for some weird reason.
Yeah, that makes it very funny. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, very, ooh, wow, secret, secret.
Many shenanigans.
Many shenanigans.
Oh
But
man.
yes, and that's it. And then they just get into stupid shit because of Tamaki and his
Mostly because of
crazy
Tamaki.
ideas. Yeah.
Um, who's your favorite boy and why?
Ooh.
This is the Ahegals podcast. We do need to talk about our favorite boys.
Uh, okay. Well, I like them all for different reasons, though.
Fair, and you're welcome to go through them.
Mm,
Pad time. Let's go.
I think the one that I probably relate to the most, or I find is very similar to myself, is Hikaru, one of the twins.
Hmm.
Because
Yes,
he's very
absolutely.
he's very emotional, and like a jealous friend, and doesn't really know how to share people, or doesn't do well expressing his feelings properly.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so I find that he and I are similar in those ways. Um, not that I don't really consider myself to be a jealous friend, but I definitely don't express my feelings well at
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm just like, I get you, boy. I get you, boy. And the fact that you are lonely boys, I feel that also. I'm a lonely kid too.
Aw.
I get it.
Aw.
But yeah, I like their dynamic. They're very cute.
The twins are
Um,
very cute. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. How about you?
Um, so I'm a masochist, which means I am in love with Kyoya. I
Yo,
I
yo.
love Kyoya. I just want him to be fucking mean to me, dude. I just want him to be mean to me.
Shit on me.
Shit on me, please. Thanks. Um, I really love Kyoya. He's so cold outwardly and like
Mhm.
really calculating.
Yeah.
Um, but he's very kind. He can be considerate, right? If it doesn't get directly into his like immediate needs.
Mhm.
He can be very sweet. And so I don't know. I just love that type. Mori also. Um,
Yes.
Big Papa Mori. I love me a big, tall, dumb, quiet piece of shit that could kick my ass. So Maury's also really high up
Yes.
there. I have a
Yes.
I already shared this with you, but very very important note um that I wrote stating that I know that I have grown up because I would ask Maury to rail me when that was not the case when I was a child who yes, when I was a child who watched this show originally. I was like, "Oh, Kyoya's so handsome. I'm in love with Kyoya." And then I thought Maury and Honey were boring. Uh, which is trash. They're just underrated and underrepresented in the show.
Yeah, they are.
They are
They really are.
fantastic characters.
I love them. I do wish they had a little more limelight,
Yeah, absolutely. They deserve that.
especially with their relationship with each other. Like they got kind of just one episode that's purely their relationship with each other.
Them fighting
Um
like that
yeah,
episode.
them fighting cuz Honey gets a cavity.
Oh, baby.
But I wish there was more cuz I love their dynamic.
They seriously know what they're about and like
Yeah.
don't care about anyone else's perception of their relationship. They know who they are. They
Yeah.
know who the other person is and yeah, they care about each other a lot and they're not afraid to show it and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so
It's very
wonderful. It's so
sweet.
sweet.
Very sweet. Very cute. I
Um
do love that they made Honey a badass. Like he's not just the cute character, he's a demon.
I I I
He's a
feel
martial
like
arts demon.
dude, he's such a badass. I feel like because you were saying that Hikaru is the one you feel the most like. I think Honey
Mm.
is the one I most relate to,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think it's out of spite because like I feel like I feel like I'm such a fucking goofy but also very aggressive person inside. but everyone perceives me as like, oh, Kathleen, you're so cute and you're so sweet. And I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm not cute.
Fuck off.
How dare you?
Who the fuck are you to come in here and tell me that in front of my salad?
Did you want to fight? Because I will throw my salad at you. um, yeah, and that means we've come a long way. Honey Nozuka and I have come a long way because when I first watched the show, I was like, Honey's boring, like, and like it's gross. Like, why would you want a lolly type? Ew, that's not even lolly either. He's Shota,
No.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is that's wrong too. But that's another conversation for whatever. But I love Honey so much now, and like
He's great.
I did not like him when I first watched it as a kid.
I don't think I disliked anybody on the show, aside
Mm.
from Renge. She can go fuck herself.
Renge is so annoying, and
She didn't need to exist.
she really didn't.
And, like, she barely even shows up in the show after she's introduced. It's just like,
Mm.
why? Like, eh.
I mean, well, with all of like the minor characters that only show up for one episode, like I'm sure they have a much more depth in the original manga,
Mm.
which would be
Okay, that's fair. I haven't read that.
which would be fascinating to read up on. But I don't know because the only context I have is Renge just shows up whenever the fuck she wants and is annoying, and I'm like, Renge, stop
Yeah.
acting like me, talking to yourself about an anime. How dare you? Shut up.
And one of the things that, like, confused me when I was watching it, and I was like, how could Casanova find out about Haruhi's secret before Renge?
Renge is just
Like,
that oblivious.
she really is.
Renge is so caught up in her Fujoshi ways that she can't even register that Haruhi would be anything but what she perceives her to be. Um, since I keep drawing back on it, do you have any comparison notes for like when you watched it when you were younger versus when we watched it for this episode?
So I want to touch. It's not necessarily a comparison note, but it's just like, oh yes, I didn't mention this.
Mm.
I mentioned this to you like outside of the recording a little bit ago, but it when I first watched this, I'm pretty sure I watched it with you.
It's very
And
likely.
that's why I love it so much. Because like it just solidifies my fondness for you and my
Aww.
fondness for anime because like I got to enjoy something that's lighthearted and goofy with somebody that I love to be around and spend time with.
Aww.
Yeah, I know, I
I love you.
love you.
This is what makes us
Um,
different from all other anime podcasts. Is we're just girly and loving on each other all the time.
I'm gonna cry. But yeah, and just like, and you introduced me to a lot of anime. Like Haruhi Suzumiya is another
Dude.
one that I can say I also greatly enjoy. Um, that you know what, I might as well put in like some of my top favorites as well, just because like again, I had a good time with it. There's also like an outlook that she has that I felt very, very connected to at the
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and just yeah, otherwise that's like the strongest memory feeling that I have about the show when I watched it the first time. Watching
Mm.
it this time around, I'm just like, "Ah, yes. I'm watching it to discuss it with my friend that had me watch it with them for the first time." But like we weren't watching it together. Like we were watching it for this, but like not in the same room or
Mm-hmm.
not in call, aside from the one episode that we watched right before recording this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, um, it was still quite enjoyable. Ex- Basically, exactly as I remember it being. Just I'm a little bit older now, probably more jaded, and I have like a more negative outlook on life, and I'm much more like observant in the fact that hardly any of this stuff is realistic. But and I'm like, just being like, that's not realistic. Ah, you can't do that. Like, really? And just being like, ah, but whatever. Like, it's still it's just a goof. Um, I like it anyways. But yeah, that's uh, that's all I have to say about that. uh,
Oh
um,
man.
yeah.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. Oh,
Shut up.
how fuck yeah, spit on
How
me more.
fuck.
Do it. Um, you know what's so funny? I love that we've had such different reactions to rewatching this.
Yeah.
Because like this whole time, right? I've been like, Fuck Oron. This has been bad." I picked up a completely new subtext from rewatching this as an adult.
Mm,
Something I had not noticed before when I watched it originally, and like
okay.
directly touches on what literally what you were just saying about how you
Oh,
feel
yeah, yeah.
about this show. Um, and I did more digging afterwards too. Like after I'd watched it, Renee and I were talking yesterday, and we had intended to record yesterday, the day before
Mhm,
recording this. And I had like just finished and she hadn't finished, so we were just hanging out in a call. And so I was like, yeah, that I mean that was like the vague happy ending that we wanted, which I'm not going to say what it is, but like that was the vague happy ending that we wanted. And then I was like, I want to know more. I want to know what the original creator, the manga artist who wrote this, Bisco Hattori is her pen name. I want to know like why she wrote this. Like what did she get out of this? And like have I as a longtime audience member perceived it completely wrong? And like I feel like the main reason why I was having this question is because I could not believe that to feel the way that I do about this show now, like the aggression that I had towards the show. Again,
mm,
my very small, very pinprick gripes with it aside,
mhm,
I still do enjoy this anime. I do love this anime. I have critiques as a grumpy old man, right, to say about it. But that doesn't, for me, negate the fact that it is a fantastic series. Um,
mm,
and I wanted to know, you know, if like how off my perceptions might be from like their original intent. And I'm I'm like uh what is that phrase? I'm beating around the bush about what I'm trying to get at, but Bisco Hattori stated that I think she was a guest at Anime Expo in 2019, um, and had talked about how she obviously Ouran is her biggest work, her most popular work. She has several others that I'm not familiar with at all, um, and she's still drawing, I think, too. But
cool.
she stated that she really enjoys shoujo manga, especially and shogo. Oh my god, shigo. Shoujo is what girls manga, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think typically that genre is more of like about the human condition, or has a very particular. I mean, obviously there's a lot of romance. There is a lot of romance in shoujo. But another
Mhm,
big draw to shoujo manga, or the genre as a whole, is that it has a very close connection with the human condition. And so it can be exceedingly romantic, happy ever after. Um, which of these 15 boys am I going to fall in love with and have babies? Oh, but they're all fighting
mhm,
over me
mhm.
now. So, oh God, my life is so hard as a teenage girl. Um, through that, you learn a lot about like the characters, right? What they're going through, what makes
Mhm.
them be the way that they are. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
tropes because of that, right? That's such a huge thing, to dig deep into like what each of these characters tick, that like they've become tropes. And that's one of the biggest things that Oron makes fun of is these tropes. Like each of the hosts has like a niche that they fill out, right? So Tamaki is
Yeah.
this handsome, blonde-haired, purple-eyed boy. I guess he would technically be blue-eyed, but purple-eyed boy. And he's referred to as the princely type, right? He's very, I almost said chauvinistic. He's very chivalrous and very sweet and really wants to like catch you off your feet, right? Like he wants to romance you as fast as he can. So he's the princely
Mhm.
type. Kyoya is the cool type. Like I said, he's quite aloof, and he can be quite mean at times, but that's typically when you get to know him. But in regards to like their clients, he's kind and he's considerate, but he does mostly keep to himself. And there's like this mystique, there's a lore to him. The twins, um, are literally there because they're twins. And so
Yeah.
they fill in this like forbidden love trope, right? That like that,
The incest trope.
they insinuate that, which we're keeping our eyes on you, Japan. You need to fucking clean your fucking shit up, bro. Nasty. I thought I had fucking problems, but literally the only reason why they're there is because they're fucking twins. Haha, fucking twins. But but they take advantage of that, right? Because the girls are like, oh, also forbidden love. Ooh, ah, mm.
Ooh,
Um,
oh.
and then Mori is like the quiet type, I guess. Does Mori even? What is Mori's type?
They call him the wild type.
Wild.
I don't know why wild.
Yeah, I think in one of the translations I heard something and I was like, that makes a little bit more sense, but I
Mm,
don't for the life of me remember what it is. Maury's just quiet, so I guess the wild is like he's really tall, he's tall, dark, and handsome, and super quiet. So he's like
mhm.
Kyoya's Mystique, but like Maury's a fucking
But
mystery.
he's like,
Like,
yeah, he's like the mystery sporty.
yeah, it's very sporty. I feel like yeah, he should have just been Sporty Spice. Come on, guys, what the fuck? Sporty, and then Honey is the Shota type, but they say Loli for some reason. Um, but he's the Shota type, which means he's like a cutesy, very young
Little boy.
looking little boy.
Yeah,
Which,
but he's like one of the oldest ones there, him and
yeah,
Maury.
he's old. Oh, he's old.
He's old.
um, but he just has really cute looks, and he loves cutesy things, right? So like
He loves
his
it.
appearance as well as like his interests make him like it makes girls want to dote on him, which is like
Hmm.
his appeal. And then Haruhi is kind of just a sweet, like everyday kind of dude, right? As far as the girls
Yeah.
perceive her. Um,
Yeah, I think they call Haruhi the pure type.
that's cute. Yeah, pure. I think I've even heard her referred to as the normal type or something like that, or the natural or
Hmm.
something like that.
Oh yeah, pure natural. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, so they all hit this specific niche, and those are like very typical types of tropes in shoujo manga, right? And they're directly making fun of it. Um, Bisco Hattori talks about how she, um, first and foremost, Ouran is a comedy, but she also really wanted to highlight the found family story type, right? Uh,
Yes.
Something I noticed really early on, which I mean, I knew about. I know about all of the boys draw how dramatic the boys can be and all the fights that they have or whatever. But like coming into this as an adult, rewatching this, I was like, oh, these boys are traumatized. Like they each
Yeah.
have their own type of trauma that they deal with, and like we are very specifically shown what their issues are and how they go through them. And maybe they won't solve them because they're still really young, but like
Mhm.
their friendship with each other helps them to realize their faults and to grow from them. And so in the end, Oron is this beautiful, magnificent found family love story.
Yeah, and like they do a really good job in a couple of the episodes, but one in particular where they show Tamaki going around and recruiting all of like everybody to join the club, and he refers to them as like the word nakama, which is basically comrades, friends, like a very tight-knit comrade, basically,
Oh.
and and, like, yeah, because there's a scene where Kyoya is just like, are they also these so-called comrades that you speak of?" Because Tamaki, he can see who they are for some ungodly reason. His this buffoon, the lord of the idiots, he can he can see people suffering, basically, and like he can see that, and he knows, and he understands because he has also suffered like a very specific kind of loneliness. Um, and so he's going out and finding these nakama that also have, and he's just like, "We're gonna have fun. I'm gonna make you guys have fun." We're best friends already. I already know.
Mm.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, that's Tamaki's thing is um he's so overly selfless. Like he is so keen to like the emotions of others
Yeah.
while being completely oblivious as to his own emotional like
Yeah.
well-being and state. Like what was the episode? I think it's like not the second to last episode, but the episode before the last two where it's like Tamaki's like depression or whatever. Um
Mm,
where and I didn't realize this before. I thought it was just a filler episode when I was younger, but like you realize with the host club that Tamaki doesn't even realize that he's in love with Haruhi, which spoiler,
yeah.
but it's a reverse harem. Everyone's in love with Haruhi, not a big spoiler. He doesn't even realize he's in love with her.
Yeah, because it's like until he sees Casanova get friend zoned, where he's like, "Oh, I really feel for him right now." And
Uh-huh.
Kyoya's like, "Oh, why would you feel for him, Tamaki?"
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
really asking him why,
Mm-hmm.
to get him to think about it. He's just like, "I don't know."
Just no self-awareness and like um astounding, right? That makes Tamaki such a deep character. Whereas like when we're
Mm.
introduced to him, he's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But you get to know him and he's
Oh,
such a sweetheart, right? Like he's so selfless. He wants to
mhm.
help everyone regardless as
He
to
does.
whether they give a shit about him or not. Um and like he has whether knowingly or not created this group. He's brought all these boys together and they shit on him all the time, but they would fucking do anything for him, right?
Mhm.
They want to take care of each other and so that's what they do
Yeah. And
without
they show that in the very last episode
yeah, like without
where they would
hesitation.
do anything for him. Yeah.
Yeah. I yeah, so that like trying to pin that was a game that I played with myself that I played on my own through the rest of the series was like trying to pinpoint what everyone's traumas were.
Mm.
Um I think another great episode that shows that kind of takes a lot of time to explore that is actually the episode we watched, the Alice in Wonderland episode. It's very silly and it pretty much directly cuts the series in half, the season in half. Whereas the first half of the season, which is something I wish it could be redone, but I think that the way that they did it was the best that they could, and it was a great
Mm.
way to like organize the episodes. But before the episode I'm about to talk about, it's goofy. They're just having fun. The host
Mhm.
club likes to dress up and play games, and they're rich bitches, and they're just fucking around. And then in the second half, you dive more into their friendship and the people that they are and their backstories and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and then to mark the between of those episodes is an Alice in Wonderland themed episode where Haruhi falls asleep and has a dream as if she were Alice lost in Wonderland. Um,
Mhm.
and it's goofy, it's dorky, it's nonsense because it's Alice in Wonderland,
Mhm.
also because it's
Yep.
Ouran. But like throughout her journey through her dream, she's constantly, very subtly though, being told like, "Hey, why don't you know relax? You are so like hard set on being an independent person, which is fine, and that makes you such a genuine, wonderful person. But like, you have a lot of people who care about you and who want to be there for you. You should start trying to depend on them."
Mm.
And it's a really beautiful like turnaround, right? And I don't know, you just I again, that was one of those episodes I was like, oh, haha, funny, weird episode. I don't know why they would do that. And then as an adult, I'm like, oh wow, like I would argue that the Alice in Wonderland episode is the best episode in this series.
Yeah, and I wanted to watch it because of that basically, but you put it into words where like all I knew was I had this feeling about it and that made me think it was one of the best episodes, but I didn't know why.
Hmm.
And you put that into words for me and I was like, "Oh, that's why."
Yeah, go team. Woo!
Oh god.
It
Ah.
yeah. I have like a list of all the traumas here and I put a lot of work into it, but
Mm.
I think it's definitely better to watch it and figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, it is nice to pay attention to that and figure out what everybody's deal is and just learn about each of the different characters and why they are the way they are.
Mhm.
And I think kind of spoilery, but going back on to why a little bit more why I feel uh like Hikaru uh is a good self-representation, including his brother Kaoru. Um like because they are twins and they look so much alike and people have such a hard time telling them apart and they're referred to as like a whole unit and like not seen as an individual. The not being seen as an individual part is what like I don't know. I really felt that, I
Mm.
guess, cuz personal weird family stuff, but just like yeah, feeling like an ignored member in my family slash elsewhere is why I connected strongly to them.
I think now too. I was using honey as a I was like, haha, funny, because I'm yeah, grr, angry on the inside, but like cutesy on the outside.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a lot like Haruhi.
Yeah. I mean,
Not that I'm studious or anything.
no, you are very laid back like Haruhi is. I'd say like you take things as they come. You're really chill about dealing with shit.
Mhm.
um and just like you're very level-headed the same way that Haruhi is and like you're a strong voice of reason.
Yeah. And in the same way, my greatest one of my greatest weaknesses is my inability to depend on others.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's why it hit so hard this time around. I think it was the perfect time to watch Ouran. If you haven't seen Ouran, go watch it for yourself. It's very good. It's
Yes.
got the Ahegals seal of approval on it.
Ah, hey gals, seal of approval. Here is a face. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Do you have any final thoughts?
Uh, no, not really. I'm sure there's stuff that I wanted to say that I totally forgot I wanted to say it, but eh,
Ah,
okay. I like what we talked about.
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Some good shit. Yeah, we don't have like a set scale of rating at this point in time,
Nope.
but I mean, I'm wet for Oron, so
I am also le moist.
my god. I am le moist.
Lay moist.
But yeah,
You
highly
know,
recommend.
yeah, very recommend. So well, going back to like the rating thing, because like we kind of mentioned it. I think this was my idea. To be like, we could pick an Ahegao face that we feel like represents our feelings about the show we're reviewing, and it's up for you, the audience, to interpret what that feeling is. But you can see why we picked the face based off of what we just explained our
Yeah.
feelings about the show to be. So
So
yeah.
if you listen to that entire, I don't know how long this is gonna be for. It's like an hour.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Hopefully I can chop it down. We can chop it down to an hour. We'll see.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I just recommend. I think even if you're not into cutesy things, I think it's worth a shot. And not like you have to finish it. It's not like we're holding
Yeah,
you at
no.
gunpoint. Like,
If
we will watch this.
if you're not into anime, but you would like to start watching something, this is a very good intro show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Got comedy, it's got romance, it's got a unrealistic slice of life high school aspect to it.
Fuck. We need an outro. We need an intro and an outro.
Ah, yes.
uh,
Let's see, an intro. Ah, never mind. Never mind. No. No.
thank you so much for listening to the first episode of my Ahegals podcast.
Yes, thank you so much.
We appreciate your support. We'll see you around.
Bye.